It is time for the Sunday Roundtable, and joining us this morning, Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh, Republican political analyst Rob Gray. Great to see you as always, guys. Let's start with Karen Spilka. She was sitting in the chair this morning. What do you make of her steps as Senate President to shape policy here in Massachusetts, Marianne?
Well, she's clearly a progressive, and she's moved on a lot of things like behavioral health and other items. You heard her today when you talked about the money. Do you think you're going quickly enough? I personally believe that, being swift and being smart isn't mutually exclusive. Mm-hmm. So we know the problems, we know the answers. Get the money out the door. And the one example I'll put on the table is if we had started last spring, by this fall, every single school in Massachusetts could have had a new HVAC system, mm-hmm. which not only would have helped with COVID, but just overall health and well-being of kids. That did not happen. So let's get going.
And she is one of the three most powerful people in the state on the list,
She is, and on the ARPA money, she's been slow as a turtle, and so is the House and the House Speaker. Governor Baker wants to spend the money, and that's the right thing to do. I mean, this money is for recovery. Okay, if the recovery is over when you spend it, what's the point?
Yeah.
All right, let's turn to the 2022 governor's race. Republican Jeff Diehl picked up the endorsement of former President Donald Trump. Diehl now claiming the 2020 election was rigged and that absentee ballots led to fraud. Both of these claims are not based in reality. I'm going to start with you, Rob. What did Diehl get out of this? And I think it's worth mentioning, initially when Diehl jumped in the race, he sought to distance himself gently from President Trump, former President Trump. And now, 24 hours after he claims the election is rigged, this.
Right. I mean, we'll see what Diehl gets out of it, and probably in 2 months, because show me the money. If Jeff Diehl is going to be a legitimate candidate and a legitimate challenger, he's going to have to raise money. He's scraping the bottom of the barrel right now in terms of fundraising, but he's just going all in on Trump and figuring that there'll be a low turnout Republican primary, low interest Republican primary, and he can get enough votes with just the Trump coalition to beat Baker. I don't think so.
Marianne?
Rob hit it on the head. I mean, the fact is, Jeff Diehl lied. He lied about Trump. He started this campaign for governor based on a lie. It's all a lie. So you want to be governor of Massachusetts based on a lie? Who's going to vote for you? But the bet he made is Trump got 239,000 votes here in that Super Tuesday Republican primary. He thinks he'll get all of those. The turnout in 2018, 274, of which Charlie Baker got 173. He thinks that's his ticket to winning that Republican primary. I hope every unenrolled voter votes in that primary next September and buries him under the rock he lives.
And that's a question. Will independent voters come out for that?
Well, that's the thing. So in part, it depends on the Democratic primary, who's in, what's the interest there, and other primaries in the state, because independents can choose which way to go. So there's a lot to be seen.
They should vote. Unenrolled should go to the primary in September and then figure it out in November.
All right.
Bury him.
The next item is the Boston mayoral race. It's now a little over 3 weeks away from that. And remember, it's November 2nd. It's early November. Michelle Wu continues to rack up some high-profile endorsements. She has Senator Ed Markey, who Annissa Essaibi-George supported in his Senate race against Joe Kennedy. Both candidates also reaching out to the black and brown community. We talked about Ayanna Pressley's endorsement of Michelle Wu. It seems like the big endorsements are heading to Michelle, at least the high profile, the headline ones. What's going to matter more, those endorsements or the debates that are on the horizon?
Turnout.
That's
the only thing that matters. So here's what we have to watch. Does Michelle Wu's organization, are they able to get out like a lot of early votes going into Election Day and then turn out voters on Election Day? Or does Annissa Essaibi-George, her advantage with super voters, does that get her the advantage on Election Day because of a low turnout? That is the only thing that matters with 23 days to go.
Rob, what do you think?
I mean, Marian's right. This is an extremely low interest election, even though we're talking about it. We didn't see much interest in the preliminary. So will debates matter on the margins? Yes. But also money matters and advertising matters. So I agree that turnout is the most important thing, but ads and money are going to drive it. We haven't seen much of a campaign as yet.
Endorsements, the high-profile endorsements, affect viewers, voters?
I mean, I think they give a perception of momentum, but I don't think it's a realistic political momentum in terms of at the precinct level.
Yeah, but those who have organizations, that's what makes
That's
a
what
difference.
helps.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's go north of the border, where the list of Republicans running for Congress is growing. Former News Center 5 reporter Gail Huff-Brown officially joining the race. She wants to take the seat currently held by Democrat Chris Pappas. Her husband, former U.S. Senator Scott Brown, didn't do so well when he ran in the Granite State. Will it be different for her, Marianne?
Well, she has to get through a primary with two other folks, two other Republicans. None of them, not one of the three, are original Granite Stater natives, okay? And it's interesting to me that in the video she did making her announcement, she said that the current congressman, Democratic Chris Pappas, didn't mention his name, but doesn't represent New Hampshire values. Well, he's from a family that's been in New Hampshire for 4 generations and run the spectacular restaurant, The Puritan, since 1917. So I'm not sure that's a winning strategy. We shall see.
Rob?
Well, I think she's the favorite, both in the Republican primary because she has some fame. She should be able to raise the money that can get her over the top versus these other candidates who aren't that well known. But also, Joe Biden's unfavorability is up to 48% in New Hampshire. That's tough to win as a Democrat in a midterm election. So she could be the favorite in the general as well.
It could play on this. It could play on this level, right? That Joe Biden's favorability ratings could play on that level.
Well, sure. I mean, people may vote against Biden.
Got it.
Vote for Brown because they're voting against
But
Biden.
his numbers will be much better a year from now.